Welcome to Sober.Coffee, a weekly coffee chat sharing experience, strength, and hope for anyone on the sober road to recovery. You can download Sober.Coffee weekly on all podcast platforms and check us out on Instagram at Sober.Coffee Podcast and on Twitter at Sober.Coffee Pod. To learn more about us and to help support these sessions, visit online at Sober.Coffee. Here are your hosts, two guys on their own path to recovery, Mike and Glenn. Let's join them at the coffee shop.
At the coffee shop, Glenn.
Love being at the coffee shop. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. We got we're surrounded by Java and muffins and it's,
yeah, but I forgot to put gel in my hair.
I was going to say something. I was going to ask you how the convertible or the hog's working out for you. Pretty well.
Oh my gosh, man.
Oh man, you look like Kramer.
Oh, I was just so tired too, man. No, I do look like Kramer. I love it, and the coffee's not kicked in yet, so. Got to crank me up a little bit here, brother.
I know you well enough to know that what caffeine doesn't do for you, adrenaline does. So
I know I got to find some of that though.
Yeah, I think you will.
Normally, the adrenaline comes in the hair gel, but
wait a minute, you sniff it or put it on your head?
No, I guess it just osmosis. I put it in my head and it just leaks through.
Oh, jeez,
so
that's a whole other show.
Good seeing you, my brother.
Yeah, it's good to be here, man. It's good to be here.
So what are we talking about? Are we going to do housekeeping? We have no housekeeping.
Yeah, we got a little bit of housekeeping to do, you know? Yeah, we I want to shout out we get occasionally we get people who pop into the Coffee Kitty and just want to shout out, we got the names posted out there, but I dropped the ball on one on the website for a while and we had somebody. Yeah,
you dropped the ball?
Yeah, I did.
Come on, man, you don't drop the ball.
And we love our listeners, and we love when they throw a couple bucks in the kitty. All the money goes back to production costs, so we don't make any money off of this.
In fact, we have sworn to U2 since we used their theme song. We have sworn to them we're not making any money.
That's right. It's official. So what are we talking about
So
today?
who's the shout out? Are we giving a shout out to somebody in particular?
No, it's all anonymous.
Shout out to the anonymous.
Yeah. And for the semi-anonymous, go check out the website on the About Us page, and we thank everybody individually.
I know. So. By the way, man, you're doing a great job on that website. Normally podcasts and a website is just like a little billboard. Mm-hmm. I mean, ours is like the Congressional Library of Sobriety Resources.
Well, we're getting there.
It's unbelievable. And then the writings.
The writings are.
I mean, I'll tell you what. People out there that may have heard of this AI chat GPT, they have nothing on you. I mean the shit that comes out of your brain and down in writing, about sobriety and about living sober and just about the sober soul and just about embracing a sober life and what sobriety brings. I mean those writings. I'm actually thinking about starting framing some of them because they are really sexy, meaningful, impactful words.
Well, at the end of the day, Glenn, it's just our story. That's all it is. It's what we've learned in the rooms and what we've learned in books and on YouTube and all these other think about the day and age we live in. I mean, if you want to get healthy, you can go to YouTube and find your way to getting healthy. If you want to build a bike, you can go build a bike. If you want to recover, there are so many resources out there,
No, I get that. But you're not allowing me to give you a compliment. There is a way of putting words together that make a story come alive, that make a story become impactful. And that's what I'm saying. If you go to our website, Sober.Coffee, it's not Sober.Coffee.com,
no,
Sober.Coffee.
Just .coffee.
If you go to the website and look under writings. Not blogs, it's writings. You'll get some value out of it.
Yeah, if you sign up for the newsletter list, we'll dump those right into your inbox twice a week. So
yeah, but I think I'm not getting them twice a week. So I think there's more writings than I'm getting emails.
Okay.
So I think you want
people to proactively go there.
Well, certainly drop your email, but right. I just think. And if you drop your email today, you're not going to get all the prior ones.
That's correct, right?
So you got to go to the website and look under writings and look under resources. I mean, stuff we talk about here on the show, it gets dropped in there, songs and websites and tools and guests and
all good stuff.
But anyhow, man, nice work on the website. I mean, that's really becoming, from a billboard to a full congressional outline of our show.
And we welcome. I love that. I love our I love our Instagram community, too. You get a lot of feedback from that. We love the feedback.
So here's the thing. You want to hear something funny about Instagram?
Yeah.
I mean, folks, we're not about the numbers, but so we had 9,992 Instagram followers, right? Almost the 10,000 level. Mm-hmm. Instagram must not have liked that because within 2 days, they took away 500 followers.
Oh, well, maybe 500 relapsed.
Nah. Nope. It's the algorithm. I mean, who knows what Instagram does?
Well, let's talk about those that drift away from the program.
Oh,
we
man.
talk about that today.
I mean, relapse?
Yeah.
The R word?
Oh, no, you can call it a slip if you'd like.
That's bullshit.
Okay. See, now the adrenaline's kicking in. See, it's nothing about
well, I mean, it's real. I mean, I'm ready to talk about relapse.
Yeah.
Relapse. So what's our focus? Relapse?
Yeah,
Life or death? Or
let's just talk about
All
it
right,
a
so
little bit,
we're-
because it breaks my heart, but I hear it so often. It's part of
I
recovery.
was just going to say, yeah, but Mikey, it's part of recovery.
Yeah, I hear that so often,
Bullshit.
and it doesn't have to be. Go ahead and hear somebody say that statement. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't have to be part of your story, my story. And that's the thing that breaks my heart is that, I would say that I relapsed over the years before I came into AA. If you want to say a commitment to stop drinking and then drink, or a commitment to stop drugging and then drug. Okay, I did that repeatedly in my life. I don't really consider those relapses. That was part of my drinking career. But once I got into sobriety, once I felt sobriety, once I started working a program of recovery, then if I were to drink, I would consider that a relapse. Maybe I'm just splitting hairs, but I get the pain of the commitment and then not happening. But what I don't get is why somebody wants to give up what they've got.
Okay, so, God, this is a great topic, but terrible topic.
This is a terrible topic.
In fact, so let me just premise. I had a sponsee relapse this week. So I've gone through relapse, so, I mean, let's just set the baseline. You have not, right? I mean,
That's correct.
I mean, since October
2018. My first real rehab, my first detox,
you have
my
not,
first
you
rehab.
have, okay,
No.
So God bless you, man.
Well, yes, he has.
Yeah. Give me bumps on that, man.
Right?
Dude, don't take a picture of me without my hair gel.
Oh, yeah, that's going up.
So I have taken a different path. Mm-hmm. So I am I have a PhD in relapse. Mm-hmm. So we have some different perspectives here this morning. So I think I looked up in Google, Dr. Google, and Dr. Google says a relapse is a deterioration after improvement.
Okay, there you go.
So
I love that.
Not necessarily, right? Mm-hmm. Alcohol or drug relapse, but that's just relapse in general, right?
Say that again, a deterioration after what?
Deterioration after improvement.
Okay, got it.
So Glenn's been through a couple of iterations of how I define relapse, right? Or not necessarily how I define it, but how I want to treat it or how I want to look at it. So for a long period of time, when I was relapsing, when I was the relapse king, and don't forget, I was in over 75 hospitalizations for alcohol, meaning the only way for me to stop drinking was to go to the hospital. So I would drink, go to the hospital, detox, and then go 2 months, and then I'd drink again. And the reason I did that, looking back, because I've had a period of sobriety now, looking back, excuse me, the reason why I did that was because I didn't work the program and I didn't have any tools. So the minute anything went sideways in my life, the only tool I knew, the only thing that I knew that worked for me was escape. And I escaped in the bottle, right? So that drove a lot of my relapses, right? I mean, I relapse king. In fact, there were some people in the program that just watched me struggle, Trump's come back and go out and come back and go out and come back. And they're like, Glenn, just go out and drink. You're miserable. Just go out and drink. So when I was doing that and I was coming in, and I have to admit yet another relapse, I enjoyed or I wanted or needed to be coddled, and that's all those things. Oh, Glenn, it's okay. Glenn, come here, man. Give me bumps. Give me a hug. It's okay. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Just get back on the horse. Get back on the wagon. Just get back in the game. Just go to some more meetings. And I mean, there was literally years of that. And I didn't want any tough love. My grand sponsor would give me tough love. He goes, "Hey, you're killing yourself." And he would just talk up to me straight. So when I see people relapsing, right, and they come back, they all love the coddling. Oh, it's just a slip. Okay, so that was then.
Mm-hmm.
I have a different look at it now. And do you know why?
Why?
Because I have watched relapse lead to death.
It's life. It's real. It's life or death. I mean, it's I have a slightly different perspective than you. And again, that's the beauty of our relationship and the beauty of all the relationships that we're involved in, right? And I have two things. First of all, I said it earlier, it breaks my heart when somebody goes back out because I know two things. I know, first of all, and not having the benefit of your definition, but I know that they're deteriorating, that they're moving backwards from something that, has brought me such joy, peace, serenity, and purpose and fulfillment in my life. And I know they were feeling it. And then to go back out breaks my heart that they're putting themselves back into chaos and darkness and all those things. So I think that when they come back in the room, I'm telling you, I put superhero status on them because they came back in the room because of what you just said. The alternative to coming back in the room is possible death. And I used Dr. Google this week to look up two things. And I think we have a pretty mixed audience here, but I looked up alcohol-related deaths last year were 140,000 in the U.S. 140,000 in the U.S.
Alcohol-related deaths.
Alcohol-related deaths.
Can you
Everything from bodily failure to accidents to falls leading to death to this is under the category of preventable deaths, and it's the number one cause of preventable. Hang on that word for a minute. Preventable deaths. But again, because of our audience, I just want to throw out one more stat, and that is 106,000 died of drug overdose last year. So you've got 250,000 people who went back out or were out, never came in, that no longer walk the earth because of something that is preventable.
I'm not sure if I believe those numbers.
Well, I've got there. You'll see them in the resource room. They'll be linked to the sources.
I would think it'd be much, much, much higher. And I think what the issue is, and I don't think a lot of those deaths really have the actual reason of death on there.
Can we agree that a ton of people die?
Oh, absolutely.
Can we agree that we almost did?
Yeah, and the night that I was quote unquote dead,
yeah,
they weren't going to put alcohol; they were going to put a brain bleed, a brain bleed issue, right? Mm-hmm. But the brain bleed issue was because of alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Glenn, I was in intensive care for 5 days. Intensive care.
No, I know. I just think those numbers are much higher, and you're right. The number doesn't matter, but a lot of people are impacted and die. Yeah, from alcohol and drugs, and so it's serious. And I think when it was happening to me, I wanted the grace. I wanted the love. I wanted the forgiveness. I wanted the understanding. I wanted all the excuses. And then when I got, sober and had some sobriety, and I watched other people around me relapse and die, people that we know, people that we loved in the rooms, and it's not just one or two.
Good people.
Great people. I started taking a different look at it. I really did. I'm like, maybe it was just clear-headed time or whatever, but I started looking at relapse as a major fire alarm.
For yourself.
For myself. And for those around me and for my sponsees.
Well, I had we had a death just recently of somebody who left, 2 kids behind, a wife and 2 kids behind, a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, and a wife who's now got to support her family. And all for the reason of escape. He just wanted to escape. One Friday night, he was in recovery, and one Friday night he went out and he died. The details are unimportant, but I guarantee you he died of drugs and alcohol. I mean, I'm not saying that they didn't say it was anything else. That was his cause of death.
Yeah, that's I just shake my head now at people that just scoff at relapse and just coddle people and because here's why. I think it's dangerous to do that. I think it's okay to be honest and a little assertive with people and say, hey, Mike, I love you, man, and hey, I'm sorry to hear that you relapsed, but man, relapse is a very serious thing. I think it's okay to really underline it, but there's so many people out there that just want to softball it, and what I have seen, and maybe we have seen, I don't want to speak for you, but what I have seen is softballing leads to more softballing, leads to more relapses because it doesn't outline the level of urgency, underline the urgency and critical nature of a relapse and what can happen, especially with drugs, because somewhere along that line, and I don't do drugs. I mean, somewhere along that line, how do you know when the next hit
you don't
push you over the line?
Today you don't know with fentanyl. You don't know. But let me liken it to my grandson, right? So my 10-year-old grandson lives.
He's not drinking, is he?
No, but he's playing with dangerous things. He goes to the field. He finds a piece of sharp metal, right? I tell him that's dangerous. Throw the thing away, right? So next thing I know, he's got he hasn't thrown it away. He's got it and he's playing with it in the backyard. Now I can't go, oh, okay, so you went and got the sharp thing again. Welcome back. Thanks for being home. Can I get you some brownies? No, I have to discipline. I have to let him know.
There's no urgency with that.
Well, there is urgency. He could cut
if you sit there and say,
right.
Oh, you have it again. That's
right. There's no urgency.
Right.
But if I get stern and say, look, I told you for your own good not to do this. Right? I suggested that you don't do this, young one, but it's the same thing. Ultimately, I'm going to coddle him, but not initially. I'm not going to coddle him. See, so I think there's look, I love, what do they say? Love the sin, hate the sinner? No,
love the sinner, hate the sin.
Right. Oops, my bad. Right.
Mike, you've been doing it wrong.
So look, the guy that you just referenced that went out this week, love him to death. I love him in my very core. He was brother in arms with me, been doing the road to recovery with me, and then he goes out. I haven't talked to him. I'm not happy with him. And when I do talk to him, I'm going to tell him how unhappy I am with him. But that doesn't mean I don't love him any less. It doesn't mean I love him anymore. I loved him then. I love him now. The fact of the matter is, he really did something stupid. And what I mean by stupid is he didn't follow. He didn't use his toolbox, obviously. And the reason I can say that with all confidence is that if you work the program and if you have enough tools and you find what's working for you, you keep doing those things. Somewhere he stopped doing those things.
I think in some instances, when I look at mine and some others that I know, it's ego. And it's, I've got this. I got this figured out this time. I'm the man. I'm the king. I got this. And I can drink that 1 or 2 beers. And you know what? Who are they to tell me, right, that I can't drink? Who are they, right? And I'm telling you, every time, man, I see the ego suck the oxygen out of the room, and in myself and others. And I was like, you know what? I've got this, man. I don't need this program. I don't need to do what they do, man. I'm not as bad as them. Or I'm telling you, the ego and how the self-importance, and it's all bullshit because it's all fake. It's not real, and it'll get you every single time.
So do you think they just didn't have enough pain the first time? Or what point do you think that somebody says it's okay to go out there and cause destruction to myself and all the people around me again?
So I know for me, I had major significant pain.
Yes.
So it wasn't I didn't think there was pain. It was, I am Superman. I feel I am so in control of my own life. I am king. My ego said, man, I got this. I am so talented. It's lack of surrender.
Okay. So let's stay at this intersection for a minute. What does Sober Glenn tell Eagle Glenn today? What would you tell your old self today, or what do you tell your Eagle Glenn today?
Super easy.
Go ahead.
Glenn, you don't have this. You have, excuse me, you have proven enough times. Sorry, man, I'm choking on my muffin. You have proven enough times.
You know how many people die annually choking on muffins?
1.
It's about to happen, I guess, apparently. Chokes on a muffin.
Excuse me, first
Sorry,
one.
let's get serious.
So, I mean, I play the tape. So there's 25 things I do. I mean, let's tear apart. I think I'm going to answer your question at some point, but let's tear apart relapse, right? There's 3 phases of relapse.
That's right.
Right? Mm-hmm. And as we know and as we live our lives today, we are hyper aware of where we're at.
Right.
Right? So awareness is one of my superpowers. Right. So there's 3 phases of relapse. One is emotional. Mm-hmm. So that's when my life, I'm not using the tools of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm kind of taking over control. I'm cranky. I'm irritable. Right.
Discontent, right?
Yeah, I'm not getting the sleep I need. Mm-hmm. Right. I've just got too much going on. I'm starting to worry about stuff. Stressful things come up, and I'm not using the immediate. So it pushed me in a bad spot, bad emotional soil. Mm-hmm. Then the second phase is the mental phase. That's where I start saying, okay, I'm not feeling good. Right. That's emotional. And then what am I going to do? Hey, Mikey, remember that time, man, where I sat and I drank that big glass of vodka and, it just took all my stress away for an afternoon, man. Do you remember how good, Glenn, do you remember how great that felt? Oh, my God, that was great. And that's the mental, right? And start thinking, hey, man, you know what? Oh, that'd be great. Let me see. I'm not doing anything tonight, right? Maybe Jen's out of town. Maybe I can just sit and have a cocktail. Just 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. I'll stop after 2.
Absolutely.
I can stop after 2. I can smooth out the afternoon. I'm telling you, this is the mental.
Yes. Okay.
And I actually, go through these 2 phases.
Right.
I haven't in 7+ years gone through the 3rd phase, but I'm definitely on a regular basis in and out of the emotional phase. I call it the first wheel. Mm-hmm. The second one, mental, I still go through that today. Mm-hmm. I still think, hey, man, this afternoon's clear.
Right.
Right. And I did it for 20 years, so it's not like it's not a habit, right? It's not like I don't have it readily available.
Right.
But I sit there and think, hey, man, I got the afternoon clear. I could get, 1. I've got a, shame on me, but I've got a pint of rum in my house. I don't even like rum. But I got a pint of rum, and I'm like, hey, that would do it. And that would smooth out my afternoon. Now, I'm going to go home and throw that away today.
Yeah, good idea.
But, I have a pint of rum that somebody brought for the holidays 4 months ago, and yet I still think about it's there.
Right.
That's the mental.
Okay.
Right? And then the 3rd phase is physical. That's when I open that bottle, pour it in, and drink it.
Right. And that's where things get dangerous because it goes from your heads to your hands, right? So it goes from your head.
Sometimes it goes real quick.
Yeah.
Without thinking about it.
Yeah.
And that's the danger of having the pint of rum around.
Right. Well, that's the danger of not being aware, because I'm guessing, and I'm going to put words in your mouth now, but I'm guessing that when you start feeling that irritable, that emotion, you're aware and you're going, uh-oh, I'm about to go to the mental phase here. And if you get to the mental phase, then you're like, whoa, hold up a second. I'm aware that something is amiss. I got to go grab the tool out of my toolbox. Am I right?
So I can, most of the time, again, I'm hyper aware, just like you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are hyper aware of where we're at. Most of the time, I handle it in the emotional phase.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely it gets to the mental phase where I start fantasizing, I start pondering, but I catch myself again,
sure.
hyper aware.
We're not aware of our mental capabilities all the time. That brain is a crazy thing.
Again, sometimes we can't control our thoughts, we control our actions. And a lot of times it's, what do you do with your thoughts? Do you sit there and romance them, right? I mean, some people do that, sexually. Some people do it, with drinking. Some people, and once your mind gets, the longer you're on the mental relapse path, the higher the percentage that you're going to take the physical relapse.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I think for me too, it's that beginning phase that I'm aware of. When I start physically moving like old Mike or thinking like old Mike, oh, that son of a bitch, they did this, or the lawnmower isn't pulling for me. It's not, or I'm at the ball game and it's a perfect scenario for a beer, and I start walking like I'm walking to the beer. There's a way that I walk to the beer line that is different than me walking into the room.
That's crazy, man. But that's crazy how the brain works.
That's where I've got to get to. I've got to understand that when my body and my mind start thinking the way and acting the way that I did when I was drunk, Mike, then that's where the flags go up for me. That's where immediately flags go on the field. But let me say something, because we could spend hours on this topic because it's so dear to my heart. But I got to say that I don't think I'm immune to any of the process you just talked about. I don't think I'm immune to ego getting in my way. I know, again, I was at a ballpark and, Major League ball field, and my wife was far off in 3 sections over in one direction getting pizza. My daughter and my grandkids were 3 sections to the left of me getting autographs, and I was standing right in front of the beer vendor. And I really sat there and I thought, who would really know? And it's just one beer.
That's the mental.
It's just one beer. It's not. I'm not going into full out relapse. I'm just going to have one beer. I immediately had to say, Michael, where does one beer take you to? We all know. I know where one beer takes me to.
Where's it take you to?
Right back down the road of destitution, desperation, darkness, and despair.
So I want to add one word to that.
Yeah.
Because it had a bunch of D words.
Yeah.
Death.
There you go.
So what I wrote down is, if you're really an alcoholic, the first drink of a relapse is your first step towards death.
Yep.
And that's what I've learned for myself, and that's what I've learned from others in the room, unfortunately.
And you brought up a great point, because I'd like to define death as I see it. Death as I see it might not be.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, might not be part of that 140,000.
Yep.
It could be part of that 140,000 alcohol-related deaths last year. But more importantly, it could be the death of everything you have. It could be the death of yourself and the potential that you have, the life that you're living. You're throwing it all away, as Phil Collins says.
And it doesn't take long. I mean, what I have seen, in fact, I've known 2 guys that have relapsed over the last couple of weeks. I work with both of them. What I have seen is one afternoon of drinking can destroy 2 years worth of work.
Or more, right? Yeah.
I'm just talking, or more.
Because they just had 2 years.
Yeah, trust me. If I drank,
it would blow 8 years.
Oh my God,
or more
in one afternoon.
In one afternoon. Yep.
In one. First of all, because everybody would know.
Yeah, right. Sure, absolutely.
Because I can't. I mean, I just know me.
Right.
So everybody would know. And 8 years of intense path walking, step working, diligent,
and beautiful life.
It's amazing. And I in one afternoon,
all that goes away.
I'll go away. So I know we're tight on time, but I want to point out this, and we should probably do an episode on it. But there are 25 things that I do a day, a week, a month, a year. I mean, of the 25 things, there's one thing. I go to an AA retreat, and it's actually coming up, in April. But that's one of the 25. Most of them I do every day or week. Not much I do on a month. So 24 things I do on a day or weekly basis to stay sober. One thing that gets me to 25 is I go to an annual AA retreat, and I've gone for 7. I think this is going to be my 8th year coming up. Because if I'm active in my recovery program, it's harder to relapse.
Thank you. Yep. I love it.
And I'm telling you, when I pull back on my recovery program, that ego gets in, and it's, I hate to say it, but I can see, especially guys I work with, I can see when their ego starts to go up the graph. Yeah. And their jobs coming back stronger, and their life's coming back, and
feeling more important, and feeling more stress, and feeling
I can hear the
right.
conversations like, "Well, I'm going to tell that family member what to do, and I'm going to do that."
Right.
And I'm like,
"You're not working a program, dude."
That's emotional relapse.
Yeah.
They've already emotionally relapsed or on the path, and if you don't arrest it, then, and again, that's one of the valuable things of the 25 things is working with others.
Right.
And having people around you that can say, "Hey, Mikey, you're getting a little over your skis with your ego."
That's right. As we wrap up, we started out talking about the writings. We have a ton of writings on the topic of relapse. We have a ton of writings on. So if you're a listener and you're a reader, go read some of the information, because we really unpack that emotional stage. We unpack the mental stage. We unpack the physical stage. We do a lot of unpacking that we can't accomplish in a half hour here, but we do it in 1,500 words out in the writing. So check those out.
Yeah, and it's tough.
Good resources.
It's tough to see people relapse, man. It's tough.
It breaks my heart.
Yeah, but I mean, the way I've always looked at it now, the last number of years, it's a fire alarm. Something in your life is not going right.
Right.
Something in your program is not going right.
Right. Yep.
Man, I'm glad I'm sober this morning at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
Likewise, my friend. I hope this helps somebody.
Give me bumps, man.
Love you.
Love you, brother. Thanks for the muffins.
Thanks for joining us for today's coffee chat. To contact the show, email us at podcast@Sober.Coffee. If you need immediate help, the AA hotline is 800-839-1686. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Remember, Mike and Glenn are sharing their own journey on the path to recovery. Any suggestions, medical or otherwise, are their own experiences and should not be viewed as professional advice. See you next week, and remember, there is a solution.